How's everybody doing tonight? I want to thank everyone for coming and
Hello.
listening. Was that you, Elaine? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said hello.
Oh, okay. I want to thank everybody for coming and joining Let's Talk and Life Uncensored on Saturday night with Dads Matter once a month, that we get together and talk with some dads and ask them some questions and put them in the hot seat a little bit. So you scared me a little just now, Elaine. Hello.
Time for a date from you.
Oh, you're breaking up. Okay. Well, tonight, oh, there you are. You went away for a minute. You scared me a little tonight. Didn't know you were gonna come make it or not.
Yeah, I've had a couple things going on, but yeah, for sure.
I definitely like the ponytail, the braid. That is definitely very sexy and hot, girl.
Thank you.
Tonight I'm going to introduce the men that are coming with us. We have the comedian Will Krolowitz.
There you go.
We have Big Joe Rodriguez, who is also the father of my children. Oh, and there's my youngest. And let's introduce Joey Riley.
Hi,
And
guys.
these are the three
I
dads.
can't have all these pillows behind me.
I think Elaine is having a few of her mommy issues right now. So, guys, what do you want to talk about? Anything in specific that you want to tell people out there?
Well, I think Big Joe's on mute.
No, he's just not saying anything.
Oh, okay.
He is talking.
Yeah.
He's just not coming across.
Oh, no. Oh, hold on. Bubba, go give your dad your headphones.
Why?
Because I said so.
I need to run to the bathroom first.
No. Or any headphones. Find a headphone with a microphone.
Okay, I can get Abraham once I get back on.
Who wants a
Oh
kid?
boy,
Who wants a kid?
I'm done with all that. Much was the grown.
Oh my God. So, since you're a comedian, Will, and Joey, I've always found you very, very hilarious as a kid. I was watching this new show, this new comedian that I just found. What was it? Joe Coy.
He's not new. He's been around a long time.
Well,
He's a Filipino guy. Yeah. He's been around. He's big time.
I've been in a closet for a really long time and been pregnant or nursing or whatever for a while, so I don't get all that. Didn't get out much.
Oh yeah, well he's on TV. If you're sitting around nursing, you should have had some time to check him out.
Well,
He's been all over. I mean, he's doing huge arenas. He's been around for years, and you're just finding him.
I am just finding him. Okay, I'm always a little bit behind the curve. Always behind the curve.
Oh, you're blaming it on nursing. I get it. I was busy nursing. I couldn't watch the TV. I get it.
But what I wanted to get at is he was talking about homework. It was the one of him in Seattle. That if you were slow and dumb in 7th grade for yourself, you're going to be slow and dumb when your kids are in 7th grade because you're still not going to get the shit. And we have issues right now with homework with our 5th grader and 1st graders. I want to know, like, how is it for dads compared to moms? Because moms, I feel like, are just like over them, and dads are like, do it and walk away.
Well, If I may go first, I just have to say, I think that my sons did pretty well academically. My oldest boy breezed through school, got great grades, never studied a day in his life. The other one worked hard and studied, and he got good grades. And when they went to college, the oldest one flunked out because he had no study habits and school was too easy for him. So I didn't really have to stay on either one of them. They both got good grades, but like I never had that issue. So I didn't trust me. If I had to help them with the complicated algebra or geometry wasn't that bad, but trigonometry and some of that really rough stuff, I couldn't remember it. You know what I'm saying? So I would have had to get him a tutor or something. You know, you might want to consider that.
He has a tutor.
Oh boy.
And it's like, how do you punish? How do you guys in general? How do you?
I mean, you're talking about homework, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so first of all, what is homework? I mean, homework is just something. There are tasks that you're provided at home to make sure you understand the material that you're being taught. But it's not everything, and it's not an indication of how smart you are or you're actually comprehending material. It's more of an indication of your work ethic, you know, and how you are going to attack a challenge, you know. So I wouldn't get too hung up on if they're not doing homework at you know a young age. I mean, for crying out loud, I mean you don't know what you've been like yet at a young age as far as what you're interested in. So why would you be dedicated to some kind of task that you're not really interested in the first place? So. I mean,
is a first grader getting homework? Are they giving homework to a first grader?
Well,
yeah,
we do. Yeah, actually, yes.
Because I remember fifth grade was hard. Third and fifth were hard grades.
Yeah,
you know, that's a hard one to get through. Fifth was it was one.
Yeah, that's the thing is he's in fifth, and we're at home right now doing school. For the first graders, they do online school. But for the fifth grader, he is at learning at home, and we don't know how to me personally, am having issues with setting punishments. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And keeping with it, because his thing, if it's not Xbox, YouTube, or what is the other one? Switch. He just doesn't.
Yeah. Well, you definitely got to limit the game time, and then if the grades get better, you give them a little bit more. But kids spend way too much time with the video games, and my sons are grown men; they still play that shit. You know, why waste so much time on it?
I'm laughing because I know that Joey is
oh man,
addicted to games. And August and Madden comes out, just don't plan on seeing him for a month.
I mean, it's the same shit year after year, though. It doesn't change that much. How old are you? How old are you, Joe?
Madden, but I think gaming is so evolved versus the stuff we were doing back in the 80s. That I mean, if you can accomplish some of these games, you're actually at a high level of intellect. You're actually pretty good.
What is that going to get you?
Hand-eye coordination and problem solving. It's not what it used to be. This is not Pac-Man we're talking about. We're talking about high level gaming. So it's a little bit different what it used to be, and that's why there's college careers in it now, and the Twitch business is outrageous, you know. So I just think that the time of dismissing people or dismissing children in gaming or anybody in gaming, we should be far past that by now. However, anything that you do should have limitations, you know, and you should be able to divide your time properly amongst gaming and work and everything else.
Also, you know, it's not good for the eyes. And you talk about hand coordination. They're gonna have a carpal tunnel syndrome. My son, when he was in high school, he got a Manning game, and he went into his room. It was a Friday, and he was in there. Barely came out the whole weekend. So Sunday evening, I go in there, hey man, how's the game going? He goes, I haven't played any games yet. I'm still setting up my team. Like 3 fucking days. You're still setting up your team? You've been up all night, your eyes all sunk in your head, and you haven't even played one friggin' game.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's creating a super team.
I kind of want to ask because you said you have grown children, and guys, I apologize for my tardiness. I had a few things going on, so I didn't get a chance to meet you before screen time. But so how many kids do each of you have?
Well, I have two sons.
I have 6.
6. Okay.
4 girls and 2 boys.
And Joe, I already know how many kids you have. So, okay, so you said yours are grown, right?
Yeah,
Will?
they're grown. I have grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and yours, you still have some that are in the house still?
Yeah.
So would you guys say that you are harder on the girls or the boys of the bunch? Now you have 2 boys, so that one doesn't really apply to you, but were you more the disciplinary than their mother, or how would you?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. As compared to the mothers, I am definitely disciplinary. But I think it's not that their moms don't play a role in disciplining them also, but I think it's easy for me to fit that role. You know, when you're a large man, you know, and a dad, I think it's natural for dads typically to fit that role as a disciplinary and so on and so forth. I mean, but that role can be played by either one, depends on the
I mean, I agree 100%. Joe, who's more of the disciplinary, you or Missy?
I can give a look and have things done, but Melissa will, she's quick to pull out the chancla, which is a sandal or something.
He said no in the background. No chancla.
Well, I mean, like, Joe's almost the same. Little Joe's almost the same height as me. And I remember Alex J, he was about 16, and he was already 6 feet tall. And I was yelling at him. I'm like, you can't leave. And he tried to leave. It's like, no, you don't get to leave right now. That's not acceptable. And he's like, well, catch me. So I had to take that chancla and I chucked it at him. Thank God I hit him in the leg, and it hurt him because otherwise he was going to leave because he was 6'2" and I couldn't catch him.
What about you, Will? Who was more the disciplinary?
Well, you know, I had the boys with me when I met my ex-wife. We were both in the Army, and she's from New Jersey. I'm from New Orleans. She got out of the Army and went back. She kind of stayed everywhere in Maryland, and then I took the kids to Germany with me. So I had them with me. So I was a disciplinarian because they lived with me most of the time. So,
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: you say I didn't have any girls. My son has 2 of them, and that oldest one has got me wrapped around her finger. I mean, it's a good thing I didn't have a girl because I can't tell her no, and she can do no wrong in my eyes. I didn't know I would love a little girl like this little girl, but whatever she says, I mean, I'm not going to turn her into a monster, but I just love her to death. I really do.
That's your only girl, right?
No, there's 2 of them. The youngest one's named after me. My name's Will. She's Willa, but she's a monster because she just turned 3. So, you know, she's not at the age where you can reason. My little girl, Isla's 7, and I can sit down and have a conversation with her. I took her to the zoo this summer. And then she said, she went on the slide and she goes, my clothes are soaking wet. And I'm like, you want me to take you to Kohl's and buy you some clothes? And she's like, yeah. So I bought her some outfits. And I just want to spoil her, whatever I can do to make her happy. I love her to death.
Joey, do you have one that's like wrapped around your finger?
I think all my girls,
You can't play favorites when you have more than one girl.
Yes,
Truth be told,
especially
you
with
just can't.
girls. Yeah.
Why is that?
As far as my boys don't give a crap whatsoever, but the girls, you can't.
That's
you can't
really
do
the
that.
truth. Boys don't give a crap, but if one girl feels like they are given more attention, or even not even just attention. If one of them feels like you have a favorite, you will have a war in the house forever and ever and ever, and you will make them hate each other.
It's unreal.
Well, I think that's kind of true, even if it's a girl and a boy, because my brother always thought I was the favorite, and I can prove that he is the favorite. And it was war 90% of the time.
For
And
him, he probably was the favorite, and maybe he thought you were the favorite just because he demanded all the attention for himself.
oh,
I think for girls are like okay with sharing the attention, but you have to do the exact same thing, or they are like, hey, well, why didn't I get that exact? Why didn't Dad hug me that exact same way that he hugged you? Or why didn't he bring me home a snack when he brought you home a snack? Well, he didn't know you were home. You know, none of that shit works. If you buy for one girl, you got to buy for them all.
Wait, can I say something about that, Elaine? Because I grew up in a large family, and I had a bunch of sisters, and I had a bunch of brothers, 3 of each. And the way we were brought up, the women could get whatever they wanted, and the guys had to work for it. And then we did all the work outside, and the girls did all the work inside, the dishes and all that type of stuff. But that's the way it was.
okay, not in my house.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a story. When I started driving, and Joey can attest to this because he laughed when he saw it, my car was 3 colors, not including the rust. Remember that car, Joey? It was in my parents' driveway, and I went across the alley and came and got you and was like, look at my new car. And you and Aaron rolling, laughing on the ground in the alley.
That's something that was 1,000 years ago, and I do not remember.
I was traumatized.
But I will trust your memory on that one. I trust in you in that one.
My brother, on the other hand, had a 25th edition Camaro for his first car. My car went like this when you went around the corner.
Ooh.
And see, I knew you did.
Together a little bit, yeah.
I knew you did. And my brother had a teal 25th edition Camaro for his first car. And I had to work for my car. My brother's car was given to him.
All right. But no one's treated the same in a family. People are favored. And you just have to, when I would complain about it, I was told that life is not fair. I'm preparing you for life. Everything doesn't have to be even, Steven. That's the way life is. You're preparing those children for life. They got something, you didn't get something. Next time, maybe you'll get something that they won't. You can't make everything equal all the time. It's impossible.
I don't know. All of my kids think that they're my favorites. Like, if you walk up to each one of them and they're like, who's your mom's favorite? Like, all of them would be like, I am. Because I secretly tell all of them that they're my favorite. Like, if I'm in the bedroom with one, I'm like, just so you know, you're my favorite. And then someone else is in the kitchen, and I'm like, just so you know, you're my favorite. Right? So, like, in their mentality, all of them believe that they are my favorite.
Tom's first car was an 88 metal colored Toyota Celica.
What?
I have no idea what that is.
You don't think so?
Oh, those are nice little Toyotas. I remember the Celicas.
Mine was a Cavalier.
A Chevy Cavalier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was not I mean, it was
My
definitely
sister said that I hate them all.
You see, they've already figured out that mom is not very truthful.
I think if you asked our kids, they'd all be like Easy. Easy's their favorite. And that's just because he's the baby, but he's kind of like everybody's favorite. I don't know. I don't know if he's my favorite. I'd probably say I don't know, because I'm afraid of him.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good
guys,
thing to say. Is he within earshot? You're afraid of him?
No, he's upstairs.
are you guys more with old school method of parenting or new school? And I have to ask this because I know like we have like a wide variety of parents and how you gentlemen might parent. So I'm just gonna kind of like go down the list, and if you guys could just say like, yep, I parent a little more old school style, and by old school I mean like, chores, discipline. I don't know, not like, hey, let's play soccer and everybody wins type
Oh no, we don't do that.
type new school.
Look, I was in the military and I took those kids to different military installations. So trust me, I was pretty structured with it. But the thing is that they were so competitive growing up. When I would quarterback for both teams and we'd play football, we couldn't keep score because it would turn into a fist fight. It's like we're not keeping score. You score, and when no one's keeping track of what the score is, and that's the only way we could do it. But there's none of this. Everybody gets a trophy crap. No. No.
Okay, so you're more old school. What about you, Joe?
Old school.
Old school?
Yes.
Melissa is begging to differ. I'm going to come back to
Why do
Missy
you
and
say
ask
that,
her some
Melissa?
questions, but let me ask Joey first. Joey, are you more old school or new school?
I think it evolved. I think I started off a really old school when they were younger, and as I've gotten older and learned better techniques, I think I've gotten a little more. I would guess more new school. So yeah, I think it's evolved.
Okay, Missy, why do you say no about Joe?
Because he's not. Because
Why?
if he was more old school, like he would believe more in punishments and sticking with them. And he is even softer in some cases than I am. Like he'll yell at the boys for doing something that they deserve to get yelled at for. And then he like, do you want to go get some Dairy Queen?
Okay, so this is where it's kind of not fair because I feel like Will and Joey have nobody here to say like they're lying, right? So, like,
Hey, we can
So I
type
think
in one of my
Joe-
sons.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I could.
even if Joe, if you feel different, you're gonna have to go with it. He's not your husband today. He is a dad on here.
Yeah, be fair, Missy.
I'll go get Becky. I'll get her out here.
No, you ain't gotta get.
Uh-oh.
Becky
No.
with the good hair.
This is not about. This is
Yeah,
not
right?
about-
I almost wanted to say it, but then I was gonna feel bogus
You gotta
if I
call
said it.
time out now. You gotta call time out because this is not about wives. You ask the dads to come out here and talk, not about you guys. You guys happen to be moms, and thank you for doing so. But you asked the dads to come out here and have a conversation. So don't be coming in and getting our wives involved in all that stuff. That's jacked up. That's messed
Wait,
up.
you know,
So
Elaine
let me
said,
ask you guys the real question, right? Who is responsible for waking up for the infants in the middle of the night?
ooh.
Wait. Wait. Hold on. You can't ask loaded questions. You gotta
It's
hold on.
absolutely loaded. It is an absolutely loaded question that deserves an answer.
I will,
Whose responsibility?
wait, it's both parents' responsibility. But now my ex-wife used to breastfeed. So when the child was hungry, she would get up. But when the child needed to be changed, I would get up. We both did it.
Yeah. We both.
Great answer, Will. Great answer.
How many children do you have? Because you said all my children. I want to know how many is that?
Oh, how many? I have 4.
Okay.
So I have 4 of them. The youngest one is knocked out right behind me. And she is mine are like mostly teenagers. I have 12, 13, and 15, all soon to be 13, 14, and 16.
You got
And then-
women babysitters. How awesome
And
is
then
that?
I have the oops, you're pregnant, baby, right behind me.
I got plenty of those.
Plenty of them? Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, she's 2.5, so she'll be 3. So
You know, there's
for
a
the majority-
operation you can do for that and get snipped, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I was
too late.
almost
The
free.
damage is
I
already
was
done.
almost free. I literally had a couple years until freedom, and then
I know, because like they're in school, you can do what you want, and now you got a baby in tow again.
yeah.
Oh,
And she
you
tells
got to
me
be
what to do
exhausted.
now. So
Yeah, I bet. You're tired. You've had enough. It's enough already.
Well, you
everybody
know,
almost got strangled before I came on the show. Just so you guys know.
Oh. Well, you know, my son and his wife had 3 kids within 5 years. Like bing, bang, boom. And then he went and got snipped. He goes, that's enough. I said, I hear you.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I need Joey to answer this question. Who needs to wake up, Joey?
Who needs to wake up?
Yeah, at night for the baby. Because
Oh,
I'm where's Joe at? Did Joe
Hey, what
purposely
happened?
leave?
I don't think so. I think that probably the iPad died up there because he had the baby playing on it.
Oh, I was thinking that he just kind of like abandoned ship because he was scared for some of these questions.
He just said the laptop died.
Huh?
So
Well, as far as who needs to wake up, I think Will answered it well. As far as I think both parents have a responsibility, and that's how Becky and I handle it with the young ones. Like my father, like he didn't do any of that kind of stuff. He didn't change diapers or anything like that. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's a generation thing or it's an individual thing. I think it's just being responsible. Although it can also be, if you have a certain kind of job where you have to get up at a certain time, that could change things as well. So,
Listen,
but I think Will said it best. So it's both of the parents' responsibility.
and
Now,
you know what?
Missy, you're gonna have to answer for Joe. Who was the most who got up the most at night for all the kids?
it really depends on the age. Like when they were babies, it was me most of the time. But I worked with every single child to say dada first. So when they could start talking like dada, I would be like, he's calling you. But Joe
That's
did
a
help.
smart move.
That is a very smart move.
Yeah.
I
Great
started with
move.
yeah.
Keep that
I
one in
started with
mind,
Joe.
Elaine. When this one starts talking, get her to say "dada" and then say "go get her."
But he did come. He was with waking up a lot at night as well to help. But you're right. When you're breastfeeding, you're the only one.
Well, yeah, but you have to watch your diet because if you eat something that makes you gassy, when you breastfeed that child will get colic. I'm telling you, we found out the hard way. And then, like when the child's screaming because they're in pain, then you got to get up and just kind of like, because you got to understand, having a baby is very stressful, and all that crying and noise. You got to give each other a break, man.
Mm-mm.
I agree with that. I do agree that, some people put too much pressure when it comes to like the kids. Like sometimes even if you're tired, right? Let's say like your spouse had like a really stressful day, but you've had the kids all day, but like something has gone on that has been overly stressful. Sometimes it's okay to say, you know what? I've got it all day today. Go on ahead, sit down on the couch, relax. I'll deal with this, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's okay. It doesn't have to be like, well, we already agreed. You have nights, I have days, or you have this and I have like. Sometimes it's just all about like the compromise. I feel.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think we get caught up in this fallacy of back in the 50s and 60s where with one person, I'm not saying a man but a person stayed home all day and raised children while the other person was able to afford to go to work and put a family and pay for all the bills and all the things that go along with it. And
That's the best situation,
anymore.
ultimately.
Yeah.
That is the best situation if you can do it and have the mother at home taking care. Because the women are more nurturing, I think, and having children need their mother, especially before they go to school. I think it's important for them to have their mother with them.
Yeah, but what you're finding though is a lot of mothers are working full time.
Right.
It's like fathers are working full time. So now it's not the same dynamic anymore, where you're all in the same, where one of the members of the parenthood can sit home all day and raise children. We're both in the workplace. We're both working full time. We're both tired. We both come home from work. We both need help. We both need and we have kids that are running around and doing everything else. So
well, I mean, when you see sometimes,
so yeah, but
I
ideally,
agree.
it'd be nice if you can do it one way or the other,
Well, if you have a woman that works and the guy stays home, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I just think it upsets the whole natural order of things. I don't think a child can get what they need. The dad will take care of them, but they're not going to get that nurturing love from their mother. And I think the child suffers. I think the family suffers. I think the mother it's important to have the mother at home.
Being a Sam, and I've been home on and off with the kids. When you're a stay-at-home mom and your spouse comes home, I understand that they, have had a stressful day. They want to relax. But listen, you need to give your spouse at least like 20 minutes once you get home because she's been with the kids all day long and she just needs 20 minutes. And if you ever get a chance, like today, Big Joe took all the kids to go get haircuts. And I actually had like an hour to myself. Nobody's butt had to be wiped. Nobody had to tell me they were hungry. They weren't in the house, so they didn't come to me because the kids will walk straight past him and come to me and ask me for something. So it was so nice. I think you have to realize when you are in that type of relationship that you need to give your spouse that stays home just a little time.
So
I
I have
agree.
to agree with that, but I also have to kind of like give credit where it's due and just be like honest here. Okay, people I think are just more used to stay-at-home moms, but I don't think that stay-at-home dads do such a bad job. And let me just tell you why. And this is what I have to give full credit. So like for the first 7 months of this crazy monster's life, we sat down and we decided, like, she had a lot of medical issues in the beginning, where she would stop breathing all the time. And, at that point, like, I just couldn't trust a daycare. I couldn't trust a daycare. I don't have any family that would assist me in watching the child, or you know what I'm saying? My child. I'm talking about my freaking kid, but whatever. Like, I didn't have that. I don't have like that support group. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have any of that. Right. So we had to sit down and like come up with some type of plan, because the type of work that he does is houses. So he does a lot of carpentry work, which is typically during the day, right? It's hard for them to do that kind of stuff second shift. And the kind of work that I do is, I was typically in an office. I was an account manager at the time. And we had to sit down and say, okay, well, houses, they pay very well, but you get paid in bulk. You get paid, you have this job, you do this, you get that amount of money. Then you might wait a week until that next job starts up. So even though the money's great, it's not a consistent every week check, right? But mine, where I was an account manager, was getting paid every 2 weeks. So we had to make that like executive decision to say, okay, well, you're going to have to stay with the baby when I go back off of maternity leave. Which the baby would stop breathing multiple times during the day. So he was a fucking wreck, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, just the thought of a baby stop breathing, you're constantly watching to make sure, and you're afraid, especially if you're at work and he's home with the baby. Oh my God, don't let something happen to this baby.
No, but he took it like a champ. Like, seriously, by the time my office closed right before she turned a year old, which was right before I started my own business, right? And so like when it was getting ready to close down, like I had to give him full props, because I mean, he did like the most dad stuff that you could possibly do. Like, I got pictures like every hour. If the poop looks a little funny, he was taking a picture and sending it to me. It was like, hey, where is this outfit? He had everything in order. It used to be so funny. I came home one time and I found him in the playpen with the baby, playing balls. I think she was like 6 months old at this time. Like, it was actually really, really, like, it's really funny, because all the pictures of like the beginning of her life are all her and daddy, because he would put her in like the big boxes of Velveeta that came in, like the big boxes, because she was so little, and he tied a string and he would like drag her around the house at like 7 months old, and she loved it. And so this day she climbs in boxes and asks him to like pull her. Like, it's just really funny. Yeah, it's really funny. But he was a great stay-at-home dad, even though when I would come home, he'd be like, I need a break. I need a break. And I'd be tired from work, right? And I'm like, well, I need a break. Like, what the hell? I need a break from work. But I had like that understanding of like having to be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to take her and I'll do nights with her, even though I had to wake up in the morning for work, because I get that break of going to work.
It's great to get away for a while. 100%, just to get out of there. But you said that happened for 7 months, so it was a temporary thing. It wasn't like, I'm going to stay at home and raise the kids, because, I definitely think, especially when they're small, children need their mother, And look, I split up with my ex-wife. My youngest one was 3 months old. And I think, I don't know if I can explain it, but like the first one was breastfed for 29 months.
Yeah.
really attached to his mother, and then the other one hardly any attachment to her at all. And then now, as an adult, I mean, he's a great dad. He's got 3 kids, but he just seems to not have that attachment. It's weird because he really didn't have her, and I think he misses out on that. They got a good relationship now, but he's a grown man.
Were you, Will or Joey, ever stay-at-home dads for a period of time?
No, I worked the whole time.
For a few months, yeah.
And how did you feel? Could you like not wait?
Killed it.
You killed it.
Yeah, well, but it was later in life though. It wasn't when I was young. It was like within the last couple of years. And a few months
Did you
I was
like
at work.
play the video game with the baby on the chest, and you're still like playing the video game and stuff like that? Was it?
It was different. It was easy because all my kids were old by that time for the most part, you know. So it wasn't that like I had to have a baby at home or something like that. It was just making sure the house was clean and make sure there was some food to eat when they're at home, like everybody got home and everything. And that was pretty much it though.
Yeah, I will have to say that too. You know, it's funny because I have had a long venture of being a single mom, you know, and raising kids and working full time and then having to come home and still take care of kids and stuff like that. And it's it's definitely difficult. And a lot of women complain as to where I see a lot of single dads that like rock it. Like 100% rock it. Sometimes I feel like even though kids really do need their mothers, dads can rock it by themselves 100%.
Well,
like,
I think that's a great point. I think we can fuse men and women versus being effective people. And I think if you're an effective, hardworking person, whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to be good at what you're doing. But if you are flaky and have these issues, whether you're a man or a woman, or a mom or a dad, you're gonna be a flaky as a parent too. So I think this goes with the personality of the person. And I think like you two are good moms, so and you're a good father, so it translates. But it's not just because you're good. You're not good parents. You're not good moms or good dads because of you have some magical gene. You're good moms and dads because you're good people. All those things that you do in real life translates to you being a good parent. So if you're a hardworking person, if you're a smart person, if you're a caring person, if you love people and you show all this stuff and all those things, all that stuff translates right to your kids and right to be you being a parent. If you're a scumbag and you do all these dirtbag things, the same thing happens as a parent. So I don't think it's a magic pill. That's why we always say there's no book to this. There's no dialogue or instruction manual. It's just who you are in your core, and the core of the person you are is going to translate to how you are as a parent and how your kids are raised.
It does definitely affect them. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say me and Missy actually parent completely different. I feel like we are very on opposite ends of
Different people.
how we parent.
Yeah.
Who's right and who's wrong?
I don't know. That would be a nice battle to know.
Well, you're
I
right for
wouldn't say-
Will, and she's right for her.
Yeah, like, okay, so Tom just said being a parent is like training your replacement. Yes. My mom has told me and said over and over that her job was to raise me and my brothers to become effective people and realize how the world works. And she used to say all the time, life isn't fair. And her favorite saying, actually, I have it tattooed on my arm that's in her handwriting that says, this too shall pass. But when it comes to Elaine and I's parenting, I don't think one is right and one is wrong. I think you parent to the way you know it will work with your children.
And
Do
you
I
do
think-
it differently with different children. So
Right.
you have to deal with them differently. They're individual people. You can't do things across the board because you're going to get different reactions. You have to figure them out and know them and the best way to deal with them. Well, you got 5. So, I mean, you're parenting 5 of them differently. They're not all alike. So you have to deal with them on a different level.
Right. I couldn't parent JoJo the way I parent Ezekiel or even Abraham. Mateo, maybe, because they're really a lot alike. But, I wouldn't be able to parent Abraham the way I parent his twin brother, Mateo, because they're opposite ends of the spectrum. Do I think my kids could go over to Elaine's house and last 24 hours? Hell no.
What do you mean?
They-
Laugh? She gonna kill him?
No, but my kids are they're very high anxiety and sensitive. And
I'm mean. She's telling you that I'm
No.
mean. No.
no, you're not mean.
Listen,
But
listen. That
she-
ponytail, if it's pulled too tight, it's gonna make you kind of.
She parents like my Thea Kathy used to parent. Okay. So I took, and I'll use this as an example. One of my cousins, my younger cousins, came with us over to my aunt's house. And she was probably about like 7 or 8. And she was like, she started crying. And my Thea, which is aunt in Spanish, says, "Why is she crying?" And my mom goes, "'Cause you're yelling and she's not used to that." She goes, "I'm not yelling. I'm talking. If she wants, I can yell. Katrina, get over here." And she called for one of my cousins. Her kids, that's just how it is over there. Like, that's how she raised her kids, my Thea, and that's what worked with her. My cousin,
I am tough. I'm tougher on my kids. I have a little bit more of an old school way of bringing my kids up. I'm more like, you're going to go through things in life, but you're going to have to get yourself back up. No one's ever going to be there to get you back up. If you don't have that self-love and that perseverance inside of you to want to get back up, then you're just going to get walked all over. So I have those moments, right? I have girls, like, there's been moments where like one of them is like crying and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what? Like, and that's like, I'm
They're
like,
teenagers, though. I mean, that's it. You
and
got
I
a
mean, but
lot
the
of
thing is,
fun ahead of you.
She's not
Teenagers,
lying
cool.
to you. And I'm tough. I'm more like, right from wrong. I'm more like, I give you the rope and you hang yourself. You're a teenager now. So I
But-
give you full freedom. I give you all of that. You mess it up, that's your fault. You're messing it up. So you're going to pay consequences. I think I'm harder on consequences than Missy is. Like, if you mess up, that iPhone is mine. I'm sorry. And it's not going to be gone for like a day or two. You might not get it back for a month and a half, but you're going to think about it for like a month and a half, depending
Why?
on the.
What's your motivation behind that?
I think my motivation is that I'm raising Hispanic and Black women. And that's a huge thing. When I work with them on how they speak, how educated they are, everything for them is going, I don't want to say it's going to be harder, but when you walk through the door, they either see a Black girl or a Hispanic girl walking in until they open their mouths and they speak. So I teach them to walk in with grace. I want them to be godly women that have grace.
Amen,
That walk in with
amen.
grace. I don't want them to follow all the trends of what's going on in the world, because a lot of stuff that goes on in the world right now is like, it's really cool to be a hoe. And back in the day, there were always hoes, but they used to be a little afraid to say that they were like promiscuous women, as to where now it's like it's glorified and stuff. So I don't want my girls to get lost in the trap of everything else that's going on. So I'm a little bit stricter, but in a good way. I have a great relationship with my girls. They tell me way too much. We hang out a lot, but at the end of the day,
Now, but I have a question.
You're
For you.
laughing.
Now, I want you to compare how you raise your children in your morals and your motivation compared to how you were raised.
completely different.
Real quick before you answer that, I just want to say Tom said, "Mom always told me life sucks, then you die."
Yeah. Oh.
And I do have a saying. I'm going to let you answer that, Elaine, but when you're done, I have something I want to say about your parenting style, and then it's not. How about just explain it a little?
Wait, let me
yeah,
say
sure.
something though. Elaine looks like she could throw a look that'll send a chill down your spine. She's got that look.
I have a snap too. My daughter's saying yes. I have actually a snap too. All I have to do is, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, that's it." But I will throw something across the room. My
Yeah,
son is
and
6. He's going to be
Missy's
16.
a
He's a
little
little
too
bigger, and I'm like,
easygoing.
"Hey." You hear me talking to you, boy? But he's way tall. He's like almost 5'11". I'm 5'2". Like my son, when I'm talking to my son, it's like this, but he's 16, so, or about to be 16. But yeah, the way I parent versus how my mom parented me is almost completely different. My mom didn't have any rules. She was more of the woman that was like, stay out till 2 a.m. when you're 13. It's okay. Just whenever you make it home, she just didn't, she had no rules, but it also, she like never was the mom. Like if I just didn't want to go to school back then, she was like, oh, well, it's okay, Mija, I'll call you in. Like she was that mom. She was,
And dad?
My dad actually wasn't present. So I had a stepdad. I had several stepdads in between growing up, right? So
Yep.
I didn't have structure. There was no structure in my life. We moved like every 6 months when I was younger. So there really wasn't like a lot of structure in my life. So as I got older and I became a mom, I was like, not only do I want to give them structure, but I also want to give them a good relationship where I want my kids to come back when they're 25 and someone's like, hey, you want to go to this party? And they're like, no, I'm going to go catch a movie with my mom on Tuesday. And people are like, what the hell? That's like that's weird to me because I don't have that relationship with my mom. When I hear some people that are like good associates of mine and they're like, hey, I'm going to dinner and a movie with my mom tomorrow, I'm like, oh, wow. And I'm like, wow, I really wish I could have had that. So I always kept that in my mind to say, I'm going to have that with my kids when they get older. When they have kids, I'm going to be the grandma that comes and goes and helps them for 2 weeks after they've had a kid. I'm going to, I'm not going to pressure them as a grandparent, like you have to do this. No, you do life your way. I've trained you. I've raised you. I've loved you. I've given you. I've put as many godly seeds as I can. Now you just go out into the world and you do the best that you can do. But I also always tell my kids, I feed my kids life. I'm always about feeding my kids life. So talking life into your kids is huge. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like I speak life into my girls. Like you guys can be whatever you want to be. I give them options. I teach them how to research. I'm all about teaching, but at the same time, my disciplinary level is kind of high because I'm like, I have standards for you. Like I really don't even accept C's here. C's are like, you're barely getting by. D's and F's are like a no-go for this house. Like I can help you get A's and B's. If you're struggling, then we can do it together. That's like that's the kind of thing that I try to do.
So and I'm sorry, and I don't mean a Bogart. It's fascinating to me because I feel like I feel like that you're almost in your mindset. You almost because of the lack of the opposite. You need to play. You always feel you need to play both roles in your life with your children. And be the nurturer mom, all the fun things that come of being just being a mom, but also having to play that role of the dad of discipline and being sharp and make sure they're on point and all that kind of stuff that goes along with it as well. And I that always fascinates me because I feel like when it comes to children, I think we're all of us human beings are the best, and not saying you can't turn out great one way or the other, but I think it's easiest. I'll say easiest when you have both the mom and a dad or together working this partnership and having those dynamic roles.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to ask you something, Elaine. Is your dad? Do you have a relationship with him now?
I do actually.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I do.
Because something was missing, right? Something was missing.
He's actually, you know what? He has another daughter, and she's like 15 years younger than me. And he did things completely different with her, right? So
he learned. He learned. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You need to have the love of your father. That's so important. I'm happy to hear that.
For sure. Yeah. Good. The kids know him as Papa. They're kind of in love with him.
That's great. You see, and if he wasn't in your life, they wouldn't have that either. It's so, it doesn't always work out, but having both parents in the house is the best option for the child to succeed.
If you
It
can.
is.
Well, my kids do.
Right.
We do have a father figure. Like my kids do have a. We have a blended family, so we do have
No,
a
I'm
nice
talking about
blended
you when
family.
you were a girl and your
Oh,
father
yeah, no,
wasn't
for
around
sure.
and
For
you were
sure.
missing something.
I had to understand that my whole childhood, it took me a while to understand that the whole damn thing was dysfunctional and that was just not the way of life.
Join
Well,
the club.
I'll say this. I think out of there's 4 people on this podcast right now, right? And I'm pretty sure out of 4 people, I don't know Will very well as far as his personal life, but I know 3 of us for sure have blended families. So, I think Will might be the only one that doesn't have a blended
I was raised by my aunt. Neither one of my parents took care of me.
and he comes from a blended family. So there you go. I think a blended family is a way more common than we think it is now. I think a blended family is the norm, and not having a blended family might be the abnorm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
I definitely have a couple baby daddies under my belt. So
yeah, I got good baby mothers in my belt. So hey, high five, ladies.
But listen, and for any babies that you have, you say a couple, you have to give them whatever feelings that you feel towards them. If you have any animosity, you have to try to put it aside for the good of that child. You have to have that child to have access to their father. It is so important. I mean, and if you have that, your child will succeed.
Every time,
sure.
every dad's show, and we talk about stuff like, the conversation, I say the same thing. Listen, you liked that person for at least 5 minutes. And I say 5 minutes because you got to get off your clothes, get what you got to get done, and then get your clothes back on.
That's quick.
Well, I mean, whatever. At least 5 minutes. It could have been more. It could have been way more, but it was at least 5 minutes. You have to remember those 5 minutes can last the rest of your life. And you have to remember when you deal with the child that you've made within that time of the times when you did like each other. No matter how hard the other person is, how, frustrated you get, you still need to look back, take a deep breath, and realize, what am I truly fighting for?
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think we just gotta. I think every person we call ourselves adults, but we're really just children masquerading as this thing called adults. But we're just bigger children. And but what happens is when you start having issues with couples or whatever, the first thing that happens is you start going to the children to make your move or to hurt somebody or whatever it may be, and just. That needs to be separated. What adults do versus what our children are allowed to. Let them be kids. They don't need to be involved in our nonsense.
Yeah, don't put them in the middle at all.
Fair.
And I'm not gonna lie, I grew up very almost out of the norm because my parents have been together since they were 15, and they were a team.
Missy, you hit the jackpot in parents. Just call what it is.
Yes.
I know them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
My
Joey
dad
knows
was like a huge Bachelor man when he was younger.
No, my parents, they were a team and they stuck together. And if it was like, they never took the kids' sides over what the other one says. And when it comes to parenting, a lot of the times I talk to my mom a lot about it, and I kind of try and mirror my parents the way they brought us up. And what I was going to say, though, the difference, I think, too, also with Elaine's parenting is, and I think it has a lot to do with her background as a child, is growing up in different areas. She's not one to really want her kids out of her sight for long periods of time. She likes them home.
Too strict, she's saying.
She likes them home. And she she likes to just make sure that she knows what they're up to. And I think I will And I
Well,
think I
sure, they're
probably-
teenagers. You have to give them some guidance. You have
if I had girls, especially knowing me as a teenager, and Joey can attest for this, I got into a lot of trouble as a teenager constantly. And for the record, the reason why Joey knows a lot of this is he lived right across the alley from me growing up. And our parents knew each other they lived across the bushes growing up in Crestview. So we've known each other our whole lives. I think if I don't understand how I made it to be 21, because I was pretty sure my dad was going to kill me at some point in time from the things I was getting into.
And what's crazy is that I lived a crazy life, but I never got in trouble. Like, I was a really good kid. I just never wanted to be in trouble. I think I already dealt with enough as it was, but I am a little stricter on my girls going places. I'm a lot. Yes, a lot. They're over here like, agreeing with Missy.
Look, it's a crazier time.
I am, because they're 12 and 13 right now. I mean, besides COVID, right? Before COVID, I would let them do like teen nights and, go to stuff like that. Right now, they feel like I'm like the devil because I don't let them go places because there's COVID at the time, right? Like right now, like large social gatherings are still not supposed to be happening. So even though you see all of your friends at these like large, lavish birthday parties that everybody's throwing, like you're not going. I just don't do the same thing as everybody else. I'm not a follower at heart. I've never been a follower. I never have to be a follower. So sometimes they wish that I would be like a lot of other people's parents, but I'm not, because I just never will be. I never will be. I'll always do what's like best, what I think is best for them. So at the end of the day, like they really aren't allowed to go sleep anywhere. I let them sleep over at one person's house. Okay. And she is a really good friend of mine. She happens to be a detective for the PD, so I feel very safe when they're.
Yeah, but you wouldn't let them go have, like, if there was a slumber party of girls for a birthday party, would you allow them to go?
It depends. Who's the mom? Does the mom have multiple boyfriends? Because that's a huge thing for me. Are there uncles living there? Are there how many brothers are there? What age are the brothers?
You're asking all the right questions. You're asking all the right questions.
Separately? Like, are the girls slumbering in the basement and the brother stays upstairs? Because that's not happening, you guys. That's not happening. I'm sorry. But you can have as many slumber parties as you want at our house.
There you
all
go.
the girls are invited. Everybody's invited. You can have 15 girls over at any point in time that you want to have them over. I'll go and bake everything. I will buy you guys pizza. Like, that is, yeah.
Joey,
awesome.
how are you with your girls? Because you have more girls than boys, and 2 are graduated now, and then you got 2 more coming up.
Yeah, I was very strict with my girls. I mean, but it got to a point where it came to a fault.
Yeah.
Or it did. It came to a fault, especially with my oldest daughter, where she, it came to that classic head where you get the headstrong dad who doesn't want his daughter to be within, all the things I wanted her to focus on, school and being, and taking care of her own shit and all the things that go along with that. And she wants to be with the guy she loves and she's involved with. And, ultimately it came to a head and, it's a strained relationship, but I had to learn from that, and
yeah.
With my upcoming girls from beyond that, I've been a lot more lenient and a little more understanding, a little more sensitive to it. But I think I was so hard about that because I had kids so young. Becky and I started so young. I mean, Hayden. I mean, he's gonna be 21 this year. We had him when we were pregnant at 19 and born at 20. So it just. And then right after that was Talia and Taryn. It just was as a hurricane, and we were young and we weren't accomplished, and we didn't have any kind of like college degrees. We're just working, and it just was really hard. And I think with that always in the back of my mind, it's always like I don't want that for them at all. So, and I think I go extra hard on them as far as being successful and being career orientated and being, thoughtful in that regards and not being so worried about the relationships, and that maybe has created a little bit insensitive, being a little insensitive about certain things, so I got to find that balance. But yeah, it's I'm definitely the strict dad though when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I have a question also for you, Joey. Do you think my parents were strict with me?
Your parents?
Yeah.
Well, I would assume so because you were the only daughter. And I have 4 daughters, and I want to kill everybody that talks to them. So therefore, in conclusion, I can imagine having just one daughter, and so absolutely, but don't think you never have to think about it as it being an insult or anything.
No, I don't think it's an insult at all.
They love the hell out of you.
No, I was wondering what you thought. If you thought that they sheltered me, or if they were like off to the wind.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, and that I don't
know.
do. I don't shelter my kids so much. I do make them very aware of reality of things that go on. I do. I mean, I even take them places where I know, like, okay, this is something that needs to be an eye opener for you, so you can see the difference between how you are now. Where your family might have came from. Stuff like that. So I don't shelter. I'm a little strict. But I explain to them why. I feel like communication's huge too. Like right now, most of the reason that they can't go anywhere is because of COVID. It's really not because I just don't want them to go anywhere. It's just because the baby has so many medical issues from the beginning that I'm like, you can't just live freely and be selfish and not worry about if you're going to bring that home to the baby who already would stop breathing all the time as a newborn. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'm like, I tell the kids, once vaccines start going out a little more widely spread and we can worry a little bit less about certain stuff, then that'll be a talk for, going places. But spending the night, I think that's a little more of a high alert for me than anything. And the reason is because I do a lot of youth advocacy, and I've gone to a lot of things where stories are told, and a lot of young girls get raped by their friends' brothers or by guys who are, some moms have a lot of different men that come in and out, and you can only assume that, like, hopefully they, shack up with decent guys. But the truth is that that's not always the truth. And not saying that it doesn't happen to boys too. It's just a lot more common for a young 13 or looking developed kind of girl to get.
I don't know if it's more. I don't know the statistics on that, but
it is.
I mean,
it is. It's higher for girls statistically.
I definitely. I mean, I had a play, like the first play date I've had in a really long time, and they were playing mostly outside, and I had a kid over for the first time in over a year and a half, or a year. And I actually told the parents, I was like, hey, come on in and see my house. Like, because I will go over to kids' houses if my children are going over there, even for like a birthday party. And I will go in and I will talk to the parents for a good like 20 minutes, half hour, because I want to feel them out, feel if I feel comfortable leaving them. I'm sure they're like, when is this crazy lady going to leave? But I'm not going to leave.
You know what I find fascinating?
I'm more like, what's their last name so I can see cap them.
Oh, I do that too. And then I Google their name and their birthday. Like, I do all that too.
Don't you find it fascinating that none of this stuff was happening when we were growing up? Nobody was C-capping anything. Our parents were C-capping anything. Nobody was looking at or going to somebody's house. Maybe a little bit here and there, but I mean,
Joey, have you met my father?
Yeah, but even your dad.
He would call up his friends.
Yeah, I know your dad, and he was strict, but even he had his limit to his due diligence to what he was going to happen. I'm telling you, not everybody, but he still couldn't C-cap anybody back in the day.
He would call his friends in the police department, and they would look up the name for him.
Yeah. Okay. How many dads were doing that?
Well, mine was, but
exactly. How many dads were doing that? So, yeah,
I didn't even have a curfew, so I mean that was like
my dad still CCAPs me and my brother to see if we gotten any tickets or anything. So, I mean, that's the kind of dad I had.
I will have to say, my mom was very nurturing. Sometimes too nurturing, I think. Sometimes it was just a little too easy. But I didn't grow up here. So I grew up in Texas. So my whole lifestyle before coming up and moving up here to Wisconsin was completely different from how y'all got to grow up, because you know, smaller city you were seeing, you could run around and do stuff. I was born in San Antonio and grew up in Houston.
Oh, I
Houston,
love
we
San
were-
Antonio. I love
Yeah.
San Antonio. I was stationed there in the Army. At
Oh,
Fort
were
Sam
you?
Fort Sam Houston.
I've
Yep.
been there for a couple 4th of July parades and stuff.
I love
knew
San
parades part of it,
Antonio.
but yeah.
I was down there for the Fiesta on the Riverwalk. That's a great little town. I love San Antonio. And
Oh
the
yeah,
food.
you have to go to the Strawberry Festival in Poteet. Have you been to that yet?
No.
Oh, you love it. Yeah, I love the Fiesta's coming up actually pretty soon. I wonder if they're going to even have it since, well, they opened up completely. But yeah, so we moved to Houston and I grew up in Houston. So in Houston, it was big city mentality, more
Right.
like what you would assume. Chicago is very fast paced. So I mean,
Mom.
you couldn't really see cat people down there. There was so many people. It was
I can't.
like,
Go
it
tell
was
your dad.
more like, it was more like, you just stuck in the hood that you were in, basically, because we grew up in the hood in Houston. So we moved from San Antonio, and then my mom moved us to the hood in Houston.
Oh, wow.
I want to say Joey and I grew up in the alley between Flat and Holmes, and we played something called Ditch, which is just like tag on the whole block and be up on top of like garages and shit hiding. But we would stay out till like midnight, 1 a.m. in the alley, and it was safe. I can't do that with my kids, and I only live a couple, a half a mile from where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that neighborhood's changed though, hasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like it's ridiculous,
I
and
know.
I feel
I don't
like
even know how your neighborhood was back then, but when we first moved up here, Missy, my mom moved us from Houston, Texas, all the way over to close to, I think that's close to Crestview. We were in between like 5 and 6 Mile on Charles Street.
yeah, that's
So
close to Crest.
it was like a huge culture shock for me, moving up here and moving way out there.
Well,
And I was like,
you moved from like country to Hickville.
yeah, and I think it was definitely different. They didn't have all that stuff over there at that time. The only things that were over there was Kmart, and it used to be Kohl's food store, I believe, when we first
Now it's
moved
Pick
up
and Save.
here.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that I was the only minority on that whole entire block on Charles Street out there
Other
at the
than
time.
us, Joey, were you no? Because there was Aaron too, huh?
As far as what?
Minorities on our block.
Aaron was not a minority. Aaron is the whitest person I know.
Aaron Brown. I'm not trying Moneypenny.
Oh, okay. Aaron Brown, yeah. Aaron was.
Oh, they're a minority just because their name's Brown? Is that what you think?
Good sense of humor, Will. I love that.
Oh, no, we had the Stromans.
Well, it depends on how far you went, though. It depends on how far you went. I mean, if you go a couple blocks over, there was plenty. There's like Brian Sharp. There was Rolling D. Thomas.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
we're doing inside
There was, like, a
baseball
lot of
now.
people, so I mean, it just but it just depends on where you went.
Hey, this is a private conversation. You also be having on the telephone. Let's all
That's what I'm
include us.
saying. I
We're
have no
talking about
idea
people.
what
We
you're
have no
talking about.
idea what's going on. Oh yeah, well, hey, did you see? I saw him in the grocery store.
No, we're trying to count to see if we actually grew up in
Missy and I grew up together as far as we were in the same neighborhood, but it wasn't like we were like hanging out like that because I was a boy and she was a girl, so I was with my friends and she just lived across the alley, so it wasn't like that. However, but we do know that a lot of the same people, and we do, and our parents go. You know what? I'll tell you this, Missy. I know Missy. I know her longer than anybody I know alive, as far as people my age. Like, she's my
What's
oldest
funny,
friend.
I have to ask this question since you guys have known each other since childhood, right?
Yes.
Do you think that you guys still look the same? Like when you look at each other? Like is
Oh,
that still like
hold on. I can answer that question. Hold
Oh
on.
my God. She's gonna bring up a picture of you because that's what she does.
Of our first day of
So
school.
Will, where did you grow up? So where are you from?
Originally Brooklyn, but I grew up in New Orleans.
So when you grew up in Brooklyn, I mean, you kind of grew up very socially diverse too then, growing up over there, right?
Well, I left New York when I was 5, so mostly New Orleans, and that is pretty diverse down there. You know,
Yeah.
you have people, Cajun people, you have people that talk with a drawl, you got a lot of black people, you got a lot of Cuban people. It's pretty diverse, yeah.
You got a lot of Creoles down there too, and they practice voodoo, so be careful.
Not all. I never believed in any of that stuff, like, you know, the ghost tours and Marie Laveau, the voodoo queen.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's a good story, but come on, man. Like you say, if you're a godly person, you're not gonna pay attention to any of that nonsense, you know.
Will,
Oh, for sure.
Will, I got a question for you, Will.
What's that?
You have a second line?
Of course, many times.
Okay.
Many
okay.
times. And if you don't have an umbrella, you just pull out a napkin or a tissue. Man, at every wedding, that's what's going on. Anytime there's a wedding in New Orleans, everybody's second lining.
Yeah.
Yeah, you dance. Yeah. Of course.
I finally learned why it's called a second line. Because you know what the first line is, right?
Well, the parade.
Yeah, the funeral, yeah.
Or the funeral, the
It's
parade, and then the
that's
second
the
line,
procession,
that's the
yeah.
people behind it, right?
Yeah, you go. The first line is the funeral going to the cemetery. The second line is the celebration coming out.
All right,
That's funny because for Louisiana, we always Texas. Obviously, we're the next state over, but always support. There's always been support between the two states, and people always travel back and forth, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a 6-hour drive, but to Houston from New Orleans. But you know, y'all were kind enough to open up your homes to these people after Katrina, and you welcome them to Texas, and then your crime rate skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Texas. Thanks for taking some of them. It was just bad people, man. They just moved them.
So
wow,
this
is that you? Is that
this
you guys?
is our first day of school together. And I am rocking some purple socks and peach sweater.
So did you know she had this ammo on you, Joey?
Yeah, I've seen this picture before.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Joey, you look like you got some hair products. A young man such as yourself with your hair products on. And that's
yeah, I had the tight curl back in the day.
It's funny because you guys really do still look the same.
No. Well, okay. All right.
Okay.
I do. No, I'm saying you guys definitely have. Yeah, right.
Just a little though, just a little, because you know.
No,
a
I'm
couple
like,
inches.
I'm really one of those kids. Like, if you saw some of my baby pictures, you would be like, "Who the hell is that?" Like, yeah. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough, y'all.
With that picture, my parents still live in that same house where that picture was taken, and it's still the wrought iron railing is still there. But my mom had put pin curls in my hair, and then she combed them out because she doesn't know how to do hair or makeup or anything like that. She's just not that type of person. And
Is that with the bobby pins?
yes,
My mom used to do
because
that
my
all
mom,
the time, too.
my mom said I looked like I had an afro.
Missy's
when she was
mom,
done.
Missy's mom taught me how to spell my name.
Nice.
She did. She taught me how to spell my name, and she taught me how to tie my shoes too. Actually,
Did
There
she?
you go. Look
Yeah,
at
she
that.
Wow, you never forget who teaches you how to tie your
Never
shoes,
forget
you
it.
guys.
Let me tell you
Yeah,
something, Joey.
because I got babysat by her mom when we were left. Like we were babies. We were so little before that in that picture. That's when we started. You know, we went to school together, and Lily
Joey,
is amazing.
Listen,
That's an
man.
amazing woman.
Mother's Day is coming
So is
up.
Teddy.
You give her mama a nice little Mother's Day card and thank her for those things and let her know that you remember that, man. That would mean the world
I
to her.
should, and I
You
will.
should. And I think she would
will. I will.
appreciate
I'm
it,
gonna reach
man.
out, 'cause
And
she
you're-
doesn't know that. She really
And
does.
your mom, and I'm not gonna say that, your mom is awesome. I mean,
It's okay. You don't have to.
Every-
you don't have to-
no. Every Tuesday, she was so sweet.
you
She
don't
was
have to- my mom's okay. Don't worry.
no.
about
Eileen
it.
is
My mom bullied her mom. Guess how my mom
no.
is.
My mom
Sure.
beat up your mom because she
What?
came
Is
that
across
what it
the
was?
bushes. Yes, because she came across
I
the
don't know about
bushes.
that now.
What
That
happened?
doesn't sound
Is she
right.
that territorial?
I'm
She gonna
lost.
beat somebody up because she came
So-
to the bushes? No. What kind of neighborhood are you
So-
guys from?
No, how it went was my mom lived in Crestview, and his mom moved across the bushes in the backyards met.
That sounds like she's hiding in the bushes.
And his mom came. My mom said, "Don't cross this bushes," and Eileen crossed the bushes. And so then my mom, being the tomboy that she was, like beat her up, punched her,
Why
or
did-
whatever,
Why did she
Yeah.
tell her don't cross these bushes?
because she was new in the neighborhood. I
Oh,
don't
it's
know.
her neighbor, and she's gonna.
But
That's how
then-
she's gonna start.
Missy,
Jesus.
listen. I know your mom, and I know my mom. Okay, and
Mhm.
my mom's told a story the exact opposite way.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
And based off your mom and how sweet she is, and how much of my jerk my mom is, I'm
Oh.
pretty sure. my
Oh,
mom
we
pretty
might
better
have
than
to
your
bring the
mom.
moms. Will, what do you think?
I
about
think
Hey,
we're
hey.
gonna have to bring the moms on here, and we'll have a little
We
conversation.
should. That
Well,
would
let's
be
see.
I
interesting.
think
That'd
Because
be
you know
great
what's even
idea.
stranger then?
That'd be
Then
good.
when Joey, when did you move to Flood?
Oh, I was probably around 10, 11.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then his mom bought the house right behind my parents.
Yeah.
And I used to babysit his
Unreal.
little sister every Tuesday night, even though he lived there because he duct taped her to a chair once. And
Joey.
so his mom did what?
Wait. Hold on. Let me clarify. It wasn't duct taped to a chair. It was hog tied to a corner.
Get it straight.
Continue.
Get your story straight.
So his mom had me come across this alley and babysit his sister every Tuesday so that she could go bowling, even though he was there.
That's right. That's right. Because I get it. I get it.
I
He
was
lives there with
intimate,
her.
okay?
They're siblings, and you have to have an outsider come in with a little authority. He's got no authority over her.
I
And
His
agree.
besides,
sister's like 10 years younger than him.
No, I agree. No, let me tell you, Missy, because
Look at his face, too. You know he's guilty.
My 12 and 13-year-old cannot handle the 2.5-year-old. I'm like, and it's funny because I'm in the background, right? And they're like, "Mom," and I'm like, "Take charge, you guys. You've got this. Take charge. Use your use your commanding voice." And meanwhile, while I'm sitting there, it's kind of funny because like the 2-year-old's like running it, and I'm like, "Take charge, take charge."
That's the same with me. Like the 3-year-old makes the 8-year-olds cry, and even the 11-year-old cry all the time. So like, you just won't leave me alone.
Yeah,
It's
my
sad.
2-year-old's mean. She's
That
mean.
wasn't the case for me. It wasn't that I couldn't handle it. It wasn't that. I just didn't have time for that. I was too busy doing other things, playing sports, being out in the streets, being with my friends, being young. I didn't have time for that babysitting stuff.
He was too cool for me.
Oh,
The only
My
time
son's
he-
like that too. My son will play with my 2-year-old as much as he wants, and then when she needs a diaper change, he's like, "Here you go, here you go, here you go."
My 25-year-old has never changed one diaper on one of his brothers. Ever.
I don't blame him. Who
well,
wants
he
to
didn't make it. He didn't make
Hey,
it,
I
baby.
changed diapers though. I did that. I changed Rachel's diapers.
Changed Rachel's diaper.
Yeah, I did. I changed Rachel's diapers because I had all younger siblings, because I was the oldest kid. So I changed Rachel's diapers. I changed Jalen's diapers. I changed Ria's diapers. And then I changed all my kids' diapers.
Well, it is 10:20, so we have gone over 20 minutes. We want to thank both of you for being part of this story. I'm so bad at that. I'm so sorry. I love you, Elaine.
Fine.
It's okay.
It's fine.
We appreciate all your insight. And if you would like to ever come back on for a session, we would greatly appreciate you coming back on. We're going to have like a rotating of dads this one was kind of a little up in the air because we had a few things going on in the background. But
I would like to come back when you have the moms to get the story straight. I want to see that one.
Okay.
With your mom
Yeah, I
and
kind of
his
want to know who
mom.
punched who. Who punched who?
I want to hear both sides of that story, and then we'll decide.
plan that. Joey, you got to work on your mom. I'll work on mine.
That would make a great show. It really would.
We're gonna.
And then they could bury the hatchet. I mean, get it all out, and then they can be cool.
My mom actually lived with his aunt for quite a while right before my mom and dad got married. So
Yeah, living with his aunt and getting along with his mom, that's two different things. You
Yeah.
got to work that out. I think that, look, y'all are good friends. Your mom should be good friends as well.
But
Tell me, I want to hear your side of that story.
I want my mom and Lily to be on this podcast without me and with you two hosts, Elaine and Missy. You guys
And me observing.
So I want to watch that show. I will tune in to watch that episode for sure.
I want you here.
Oh no!
You're still scared of his mama.
Are you still scared of your mom, Joey?
I just know better.
Oh no, you're gonna be on the podcast with us, and we can set this story straight.
Joey,
They
you gotta
talked
be
about
there.
it since then.
Man up, Joey. Joey, man up. You got
Well,
6
you
kids.
guys,
Man up.
we do. Let us just wrap this up, and if you guys can stay on just for a few minutes, we can try to plan something on here. So, go ahead, Missy. I'll let you end it since you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Let's Talk in Life Uncensored. Please like, comment, follow, and share our podcasts. And if you have any suggestions for any show, please message us on our pages or just give us a call. Thanks, and talk to you next week. Bye.
I think she left. We're still live, so hold on a
I think
second.
she's coming back.